At this point, we are fully aware of the tensions that existed between the United States and the Soviet Union over differing political ideologies and how countries should be ran. There was a push from both sides to spread their own ideology and prevent the spread of the others. What we're going to take a look at today is how two U.S. presidents during the early Cold War years handled both foreign and domestic issues that arose during their time in office. As you are listening and taking notes, focus on the following essential question. What were the foreign and domestic issues U.S. presidents faced during the Cold War? Foreign policy refers to how a country interacts with other nations through diplomacy, trade, defense, and more. During President Dwight D. Eisenhower's time in office in the 1950s, there were several key concerns that shaped the United States' approach to foreign relations. One significant concept during this era was brinkmanship. This approach involved pushing conflicts to the brink of war to force the other side to back down, often using the threat of nuclear weapons. The idea was to show strength and resolve in the face of adversaries, particularly the Soviet Union. Another major aspect of Eisenhower's presidency was the arms race. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a competition to develop and stockpile nuclear weapons. This led to a tense global environment as both superpowers sought to outmatch each other in military might. This included the United States' effort to develop the hydrogen bomb. As part of the arms race, the concept of mutually assured destruction emerged. This theory suggested that if either the U.S. or the Soviet Union were to launch a nuclear attack, the other side would respond with equal force, resulting in the complete destruction of both nations. This knowledge acted as a deterrent against the use of nuclear weapons. In 1957, the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, shocked the world and marked the beginning of the space race. This event raised concerns in the United States about falling behind in scientific and technological advancements. The domino theory was also a crucial factor in shaping U.S. foreign policy during this time. It was the belief that if one country in a region fell to communism, neighboring countries would also follow suit like a row of falling dominoes. This theory guided U.S. intervention in conflicts such as Vietnam and Korea. Amidst these tensions, Eisenhower also supported the concept of peaceful coexistence. This idea emphasized the importance of finding ways to peacefully coexist with the Soviet Union rather than constantly being on the brink of conflict. It called for dialogue, negotiation, and diplomacy to prevent escalation into war. Overall, the foreign policy concerns of Eisenhower's presidency were marked by the delicate balance between asserting American power and interests while also seeking avenues for peaceful resolutions and avoiding catastrophic conflicts with the Soviet Union. On the other hand, during Eisenhower's time in office, his domestic policies focused on strengthening the United States through investments in education and infrastructure. One of the key aspects of Eisenhower's domestic policy was the increased funding allocated to higher education. Recognizing the importance of education in driving progress and innovation, Eisenhower believed that investing in the nation's educational system was crucial for the country's future success. The higher education funding under Eisenhower's presidency aimed to expand educational opportunities for American students. By providing more resources to colleges and universities, the government hoped to enhance research capabilities, promote academic excellence, and prepare a skilled workforce to meet the demands of a rapidly evolving economy. In addition to boosting higher education funding, another significant initiative of Eisenhower's policy was the development of the interstate highway system. Inspired by the efficient German Autobahn network, Eisenhower recognized the need for a well-connected transportation system to facilitate commerce, travel, and national defense. The interstate highway system aimed to link the country's major cities and regions, making transportation more accessible and efficient. During his presidency, John F. Kennedy faced significant challenges in shaping the U.S. foreign policy, particularly in relation to Cuba. One key event that marked his approach was the Bay of Pigs invasion. The Bay of Pigs took place in April 1961 when a group of Cuban exiles with support from the U.S. government attempted to overthrow the Cuban leader Fidel Castro. This operation was a failure, as Castro's forces quickly defeated the invaders. The outcome of the Bay of Pigs invasion was a major embarrassment for the Kennedy administration and highlighted the complexities of foreign intervention. The connection between the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis lies in the aftermath of the failed invasion. Following the Bay of Pigs, Castro grew increasingly wary of U.S. aggression and sought support from the Soviet Union. This eventually led to the installation of Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba, which were discovered by U.S. intelligence in October 1962. The discovery of the Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. President Kennedy's handling of the crisis, through a combination of diplomacy and a naval blockade of Cuba, successfully forced the Soviets to remove the missiles, averting a potential catastrophe. Let's take a quick look at how the Cuban Missile Crisis played out in real time. First, a spy plane photographed nuclear missile sites in Cuba. President Kennedy soon announced it on television. Then, Kennedy ordered a naval blockade around Cuba, or a quarantine, and ordered any ship trying to break the blockade sunk. Kennedy threatened nuclear missiles on the Soviet Union if the missiles in Cuba were not removed. And finally, the Soviet Union backed down and missiles were removed. The Kennedy Space Program, established in 1961, was a pivotal initiative by President John F. Kennedy to lead the United States in space exploration. It resulted in historic milestones, such as the Apollo moon landings. Central to the program was NASA's development of spacecraft like the Saturn V rocket and the iconic Apollo spacecraft. These missions not only advanced science and technology, but also inspired generations of people worldwide to reach for the stars and push the boundaries of human achievement in space. In Germany, as we know, the Soviet Union built the Berlin Wall to divide East and West Berlin in August of 1961. During this time, families were separated overnight and permanently. To show his support, President Kennedy went to West Berlin. President John F. Kennedy was tragically assassinated on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. He was riding in a motorcade with his wife when shots rang out, hitting him fatally. This shocking event not only left the nation grieving, but also sparked numerous conspiracy theories that continue to be debated today. The assassination of President Kennedy remains a significant moment in American history, marking the end of an era known as Camelot and ushering in a time of uncertainty and change. Lee Harvey Oswald, a former U.S. Marine, was identified as the assassin by the Warren Commission. As President Kennedy's motorcade drove through Dealey Plaza, Oswald fired shots from the Texas School Book Depository building, with the fatal bullet hitting the president. Despite Oswald's denial of involvement, he was arrested for the assassination, but was later himself shot and killed by Jack Ruby while in police custody. The events surrounding President Kennedy's assassination shocked the nation and are still the subject of intense debate and speculation. The Zapruder film is a famous 26-second home movie that captured the tragic assassination. Filmed by Abraham Zapruder using his 8mm Bell & Howell home movie camera, the footage has become a crucial piece of evidence in understanding the events of the fateful day in Texas. The film shows the motorcade, Kennedy waving to the crowd, and then the shocking moment of the fatal shot. Its clear and close-up images have been studied extensively by historians, investigators, and the public, shaping our collective memory of this pivotal moment in American history. All right, let's take a moment to reflect on the essential question for today. Can you answer? What were the foreign and domestic issues U.S. presidents faced during the Cold War?